There are very few virgin forests left in North America. Old-growth wood is hard to find, and in many cases it is protected from logging. But now there is a new source of old wood, and you don't need a chainsaw to harvest it. Peter Standring takes us to Canada's Ottawa River, where a cash crop is being recycled from a watery grave.
They were the great highways of the Canadian wilderness, rivers that sliced through the forests, carrying timber to the rest of the world. The Ottawa River was a key expressway for the logs. Along the banks of the Ottawa and its tributaries today, you'll see fertile farmland long since cleared of the ancient forests. But remnants of those old trees are still here. You just have to look in the right place.
Every time you pull up one of those, there's a lot of history.
A small company called Logs End is harvesting that old timber.
We're getting old growth timber, virgin, beautiful colors, and we're not cutting a tree down out of the bush.
Their ancestors did all the cutting. For almost 2 centuries, the Ottawa and its connecting rivers, like the Coulange, were the arteries of a booming lumber industry. Trees were cut down by the thousands and floated downstream to the St. Lawrence River for export.
And in one season, like they had, the records show there were 300 million cubic feet of square timber were rafted down, which would be equivalent of a 12-inch board, 1 inch thick, to go around the world 3 times. That would be the amount of lumber that would be cut in 1 year. The loggers were a very dangerous life, particularly on the river drives. They didn't learn to swim. They lived on the river, they worked on the river, but they couldn't swim. If they couldn't grab a log, they were gone.
By the time the log drives ended 10 years ago, the industry had not only lost men to the rivers, but countless logs. Logs End is pulling up about 15,000 logs a year, each one roped by a diver and hauled to the surface individually to minimize riverbed disturbance.
And there's such a huge part of history here that I really enjoy the history aspect. You know, we're reclaiming logs that loggers that had cut down in the bush and pulled by horse to the closest stream and taken down the stream, put on the Ottawa River, and a tremendous amount of effort of work that went into getting these logs into the river, and then they got lost.
The wood has been well preserved in the dark, cold water. Recovered logs are cut into planks while they're still wet.
Here we have a piece of commercial pine. The growth rings on the end are a lot further apart than the reclaimed or old growth. It means that the furniture that we make, the lumber is 20% more dense. The advantage is because it's more dense, it's less susceptible to dents. So you get stronger furniture with resistance to scratching.
And they treasure the story behind the wood nearly as much as the quality.
You feel it when you work with it, you feel the history. The wood is special. It's the only way that you can get old growth wood with no harm to the forest.
One of the things we're doing, we're capturing that history, and we're able to put it into someone's home now.